Gotta go fast.
Hello. Hey. There we go.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Juliana and you're watching Sprocket Girl. Welcome to episode 4 of my Going from Rider to Racer vlog series. A couple months ago, I signed up for a race preparation program through VIDA Mountain Bike, which helped the participants prepare for the Big Mountain Enduro race in Aspen Snowmass, which took place at the end of August. If you're new to this series, I would suggest starting with episode 1 and working your way through the series. I'll also post links to the individual episodes and to the vlog series in the description below this video. Check it out. For today's episode, I am featuring a special guest who you might know if you regularly watch mountain biking YouTube videos. It's Syd from Syd and Mackie. For those of you who don't know her, Syd is a professional mountain biker who specializes in enduro racing. She travels around internationally and around the US to take part in races along with her husband Mackie. Syd is also a blogger who writes about her own personal development as a human being and an athlete, and one of her goals is to inspire other people to tackle their biggest hurdles in life but also on 2 wheels. Since she's a female mountain biker and an enduro racer, I thought she would be the perfect person to chat with and ask a couple of questions about race preparation, and in particular ask her about how to prepare for an enduro race. Syd graciously accepted to be interviewed by yours truly, so I am really excited and stoked to be presenting this interview to you guys. I hope you enjoy it. Here we go.
What would you say is your favorite part of racing in any race, but maybe in this case, particularly enduro?
Enduro is awesome because often you get to ride like the best trails in a given area. And so it really is, and you get closed courses too, which I kind of took for granted because I raced enduro for so long. But I've been doing some XC racing this year, which I love, but it is like, there's just people all over the place. So like, it's not about like that. And in some ways I like that, right? Because there's this element of like chasing down the person in front of you and like trying to pass them. But like enduro is cool in that like it's just you and the trail, and like you don't have to think about anything else. So that's really special and can be like super rewarding.
Did you have any fears going into the race, or like what was your biggest fear and how did you conquer it?
I would say in general, I used to have a lot of fear with enduro racing in general. Just like every race, there was usually something or another that I didn't want to ride, that I'd fixate on it. And sort of like 2 years ago, I had this realization that it was just like it just doesn't matter. Like you can only do what you can do. And that I think was sort of how I got over that fear aspect, was that I was just like, you can't show up at a race and perform above your skill level. Like that just doesn't happen. So if you aren't ready to hit something, you need to find another way to get through it. Like there's just no point in like losing your mind about it. But like I said, that took years to get to that realization. But I think it is really important, especially for enduro, because there is a lot of technical stuff, and at this point I usually feel reasonably confident about most of the stuff on the stage, but it is really easy to get into a sort of a fixation mindset where there's like one section that bothers you and you lose all your energy worrying about it, and then you mess up something else. Usually that's what usually happens to me. So I'm like, oh, I rode that and I've now forgotten the entire rest of the course, so like I'm gonna crash on something really stupid.
So would you have any tips for me, for instance, who's never done a race, never done a mountain biking race, never done an enduro race. Like, any tips going into the race for these like last 3 weeks that I have?
Well, I guess this isn't necessarily for your next couple weeks, but for the race, I know a lot of people, and I think enduro caters to this problem really well, because there's a lot of like hype, and you're like, it's really easy to go too hard and make stupid mistakes like right out of the gate, because there's a lot of nerves to that, like getting in the start line, and like if you haven't raced before, like being totally by yourself in the start line is, I think, a little bit more nerve-wracking than like a mass start in an XC race where you're like, all right, we're all together, but like we've got like a mile of road before anything happens to kind of like get all those jitters out. Enduro is often, they love to put like the nastiest stages first or last too. I don't know what that's about, but just to like shock you awake. Yeah. So, getting a good warm up, and then also probably like maybe take that first stage like easier than you think you need to, just to like, because you're gonna be nervous and like you don't want to hurt yourself like right off the bat. Go like 80%, especially for the first stage, and then if you're like feeling good, you can ramp it up. But
Sure. Yeah, that's a great tip, actually. I mean, I know I'm going to be ultra nervous, of course, but like to have that in mind is really good. And I think actually we're only racing one of the 2 days, so I think it's only a couple of the sections that we're doing, which is good. Okay, cool. But still, like that's really good to know to like do the first one slower, or not like go all out and go crazy on it. And yeah, that's great.
Get used to what racing feels like. You can always. Yeah. Like this is usually what I tell people is like you can always do another race, especially if you finish and you're like, man, I left a lot in the tank, like that's a bummer, but that, so you're like, okay, next time I can do better. As you ease into racing, like there are always more races, so be smart and have fun. And I think also, like as I was saying earlier, like just ride what you can ride. Like you are not going to, there are people, I've met like 1 or 2 of them who really do ride better in a race than otherwise. Most of us are not like that. Like for me, racing, especially enduro racing, is my lowest common denominator. Like if I cannot do something in the pre-ride, like there is no way I'm doing it in the race. Like because of the nerves and everything, like so don't make it your weekend to improve. Like make it your weekend to like set a benchmark of like, this is where I was in August of 2019, and then you can come back to 2020 and like set another benchmark. But like you can't be like, don't do the thing to yourself where you're like, I'm not enough, like I have to do this, like blah blah blah. Like that's how you get hurt, that's how you like melt down. I know, because I've done all of it. Like, yeah, so
just like focus on having fun, and not like, it's not about showing off or whatever. I mean, that's what I'm telling myself, and just go out there and like do my best. Yeah Thanks for the tips. That's awesome.
And I would say the other advice, like if you do have a chance to pre-ride, like definitely take advantage of that. And I don't like, have you raced any cross country at all? Is this the first enduro or first racing at all?
First racing at all, yeah.
Oh, that can be good in some ways, because cross country racers don't understand how to pre-ride at all. It's really funny, actually. They're like, I pre-rode, and they just kind of like rode it. And for enduro, you really do want to look and you want to look at other lines and like consider options, and you want to practice what you're going to do in a race. Like I've had races, like a few EWS races that were like super nasty and wet, where I was like, I am never gonna ride this. Like that is never gonna happen. So I need to practice like running down it. Like I need to practice getting myself from here to there in like the quickest way possible, because then I'll just do that in the race instead of being like, oh no, I have to walk, or like am I like spending the whole time being like, am I gonna do it, am I not gonna do it, am I gonna do it, am I not gonna do it? And that just like slows you down. So make your plan in the pre-ride and then execute the plan. And then if you execute the plan, that's like a success in and of itself, like regardless of what happens result wise or whatever. But
yeah, I love that. I'm gonna write that down. Execute the plan. That's a good one.
Execute the plan.
Yeah, I think we'll be pre-writing at least part of what we're going to write on Sunday. We're going to pre-write on Saturday, which is really nice. I don't know if we have time to do everything, probably not, but at least there'll be like some sections that we can session and look at and stuff. So I'll keep that in mind for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I suspect that they will have you pre-ride like the stuff that is most important. And in some ways, like I actually I really prefer blind enduros where nobody can pre-ride. Because that's just like pre-riding to me is like a really big like mental hurdle. Like it is so hard to not get wrapped up in like something that you don't like and to not worry about this and like it's hard. So like the blind racing can be really fun because then you're just making decisions on the fly and everybody is. But unfortunately for the way enduro is in the US now, like you basically have to pre-ride because it's like almost like mini downhill races because people are like trying to memorize every corner but
Yeah, cool.
Syd, thanks so much for agreeing to chat with me and for sharing your thoughts and experiences with me and my audience. If you guys want to see more of Syd, then stay tuned for my new series where I will be featuring the rest of this interview with Syd, as well as also talking to other female mountain bikers from the community. What I really want to do is showcase the wide variety of people that make up this female mountain biking community and hear their stories. I want to know how they got into mountain biking, why they love mountain biking so much, and whether they have some tips for new and aspiring mountain bikers. And also stay tuned for my last episode of this Going from Rider to Racer series, which will be all about the actual race day. So don't miss out on that. And if you like this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like some of the videos, and also hit that bell button so that you don't miss any of the episodes that come out in the future. Thanks everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye!